Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's season for our lives, July 7, 2025. So, we're still continuing the 4th of July celebration in Salem, and Sarah is hanging out with her niece Holly. So, they're just catching up, and Holly is just telling Sarah that she and Tate are back together, not all together officially, but they're seeing where things go. They're taking it one step at a time. So, anyways, they're talking, just catching up, girl stuff, college stuff, and wondering, how the relationship is going to transition, given that she might move to Paris because of what's going on with her mom and Eric and all of that, right? So, anyways, she says that she wants to go shopping, and Sarah was agreeing to it until she saw Xander talking to Felicity and Kat over the other side of the square. So she's like, maybe it's not a good idea, but maybe I can't avoid Xander for too long because, we have a child and I have to face him at some point. So Felicity and Kat are there. They're enjoying the fireworks or getting ready to see the fireworks. And Xander comes over to just make a gesture or to just apologize for his rude remarks towards Felicity weeks ago when that whole thing with Sarah went down when she had that allergic reaction and he blamed her without knowing who was really behind it, right? So he came with the same dog that he was going to pass out to Victoria. Nothing original. He just came over there and decided to just give her the dog as a gesture, peace offering. Felicity forgives him, and she understands that he was just being an ableist jerk. To me, I don't think he was being disrespectful towards Felicity. He was just understandably angry at what happened to his wife. His wife was going through an allergic reaction. She could have died. He was upset at the shared negligence, right? Was it misdirected towards Felicity? A little bit, but was he being disrespectful towards her? I don't think so. But again, Xander is apologizing for his actions, and Kat was surprised that he was actually a man of actions instead of words. So he said, I'm mostly a man of action, right? So anyway, she forgives him and she gives him, I guess, some kind of firework thing or sparkler, whatever it is, and then they go on about their business. So Tate goes in to check in on Sophia, and Sophia is still kind of frantic. She is still kind of guessing, if she made the right decision or not. So she's surprised to see Tate, and Tate just wanted to check in on her, how she doing after the whole Braxton Hicks thing. And, he proceeded to touch her stomach, and she's like, no, you can't touch it. So he was wondering what's going on. So she said that, she's just tired of people touching her stomach. That was her cover up. So he said he understands, he should have asked, right? So she said, it's okay, I'm just get uncomfortable when everybody decide to just, touch my stomach. And in real life, that's a true thing. Sometimes people tend to like overstep and touch a pregnant lady's stomach without asking if that's okay, because not all people want that kind of reaction, right? So anyways, he asks if she's okay otherwise and if she would like to go see the fireworks or something. So she said that she's okay, she just wants to sleep, to rest. So he said, all right, I didn't want you to miss out. So he gave her, I guess, one of them sparkler things, and he just hopes that she has a wonderful rest of night, right? So when he was gone, she then called Melinda. Melinda called her. Melinda was checking in on her, and she's asking if she was okay. So she said that she's kind of wondering how her baby's doing. She was reading the article about the newborn baby being left in the box at the fire station. So Melinda's asking her if she's having second thoughts. So she said, no, I think I did the right thing. So she said, yes, so stand in your truth, and I do believe that you made the right decision for your child. And she's asking her when the adoption will go through, because at this point she doesn't want her mom or Tate to find out and think how horrible she is for giving her baby up. So Melinda said it should fall through by the end of the weekend. Sarah approaches Xander, and she realizes that he didn't give up the dog as yet. So he said that he was trying to pass it off to Felicity and just apologize for being a jerk weeks ago. And he understands that he was just acting out of anger or frustration towards her being sick. And she understands, and she knows that he can definitely be kind and empathetic when he's ready. So he's surprised that she really appreciates anything that he does. So anyway, he said, she only does that when he has his high moments. So anyways, they talk about Victoria and how she do it. So Sarah tells him that Victoria has been very clingy and fragile, and he said, does that have anything to do with my absence? So she said, yes, it's possibly because she's so used to having you around. So I am thinking that they're coming to a conclusion. They're getting along. It's nice to see them getting along and not arguing or belittling each other. So he invites her to the dinner to just talk about their daughter and come to an agreement on that. So they go to dinner and, they start talking about having a 50-50 arrangement and how, it's kind of hard for them to live without each other and with each other. So they need to come to some kind of compromise. So, Xander's saying, let's do a 50-50. So Sarah is okay with that, but she is weary of the fact that, given what Xander did to his brother Philip, she is worried about, if Victoria will be hurt in any capacity. And even though she knows that he would lift a finger to her, she still believes that, he still have his anger issues and all that. And Xander took offense, and Xander said, like, what about loyalty and trust issues? So she's asking point blank, did he do anything to Philip? So he said, you know already that Philip said that I didn't do nothing. And she's like, cut the BS. I know that you did something. Just be honest with me. So he's like, is this table bugged? Are you recording me? So she's saying, no, I wouldn't tell anybody. I swear. So he's like, I wish I could trust you. So anyways, he doesn't believe that, she doesn't have something to record anymore. She's not gonna you know, keep a secret or anything like that. So anyways, they're back to square one, saying that this can't work out because of all the things that happened. And he's talking about how Sarah lied to him and all of that. So he's just saying, maybe we just need to go back to what we were doing and just fight it out in court. And she said, what, I'm gonna go home to our daughter. And he said, okay, then, well, enjoy it while it lasts. So she's like, is that a threat? So at this point, they have not come to an agreement. And, it's disappointing because they were getting along so well. And then it all went to smithereens when, Sarah decided to talk about Xander as a parent, or when it's his time to have her 50% of the time, how is she going to be in her formative years? And I'm saying, if it didn't go to that point, maybe they could have had a 50-50 agreement. And I didn't agree with Xander trying to threaten to have full custody of their daughter when it shouldn't work out that way. It should be 50-50. He also saw Melinda, and Melinda's like, you guys celebrating the fireworks? So he said, no, not actually. Seems as if we can't work it out amicably. So I'm gonna need your branding of legal counsel for this kind of thing. So it wasn't much to this scene with Tate and Holly more than they're just hanging out, catching up, going to watch the fireworks. They had some bite to eat, and Holly was asking him if he spoke to Sophia about him coming to the lake with them. So he didn't get a chance to tell her because he didn't really want to make her feel bad and all of that. So she's saying, I'm sure she's aware of that happening. So he said, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna make sure that she knows because, labor probably might take long. And, if anything, she can reach me and I can always come back and see what's going on. Right. So that it wasn't really much to this scene, really. So Chad was speaking with Julie earlier, and Julie was asking him about accompanying her and the kids to, I guess, some classical musical thing. And he said that he's not really fond of it. He knows that his father will definitely disapprove of that, but he's not really into it. So she was sharing her knowledge of classical music, and he's saying, that's good. Hopefully he can impart that into my kids and all that. So he went to pick up some pastries that Felicity was supposed to bake for them. So he meets up with Felicity and Kat, and Felicity goes to go fetch them. So he talks to Kat about their upcoming dinner date, and they're just really talking about how it's gonna be. And then Felicity comes out and said that the order was messed up, and it looks like Chanel was the one who took it because they have the same initials. Chad and Chanel have CD as their initials now. So anyways, she said that it won't take long. She's going to remake them. So that gives Kat and Chad time to talk more about the dinner date and more about, Chad doesn't like classical music, and Kat used to be in the band and all that. They were just bonding over that, laughing over that. It wasn't really much to it. So Felicity comes out with that, and I think for Kat was fixing a wristband for Chad, and while that was happening, the phone was vibrating. Maybe it was a mission. Chad had a glance of it. He didn't see it fully, but he's kind of concerned what's going on. So anyways, she comes with the cupcakes or whatever, and he leaves and tells him happy for it. So anyways, Kat and Felicity are there going to see the fireworks, and she said, you made that up, right? So she said, yeah, I did. So it turns out, it wasn't nothing that she had to remake. It was just to buy Kat and Chad some time to get closer together. But I'm just really over at this point, right? So he comes home with them and he explains to Julie why it took so long. And then they get a knock at the door, and guess who is back? Miss Gwen Rischeck herself. So listen, I am gonna say I didn't like Gwen when she came on the forefront, and she was making a lot of drama for Abigail and all of that. But she definitely knows how to shake up the place, and I am ready for that. I did like her and Xander together, and let's see how she's gonna feel when um let's see how Sarah's gonna feel when Gwen comes back in the picture. So let's see. But comment below your thoughts on today's episode, guys. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys tomorrow.